Hey guys, this is Amy Reeder, comic book artist extraordinaire, and some of you guys took a survey from me like about a couple weeks ago on Google Forms, and thanks so much for filling that out. That was really, really appreciated. It also made me feel really good. I mean, I guess in a way I was kind of like asking questions that might spark some compliments, but it was really nice hearing what you guys had to say. And it's that kind of interaction that is really motivating. So I really just FYI, I really appreciate that. I had 248 responses. I posted this on all of my main social media, um, and I just figured I did a lot of reading through and processing what I was reading. Not so much of like so if you felt like, I was some of you I know who you are, like I remember you and stuff like that, but I haven't really like attached who said what and stuff like that because it's just too much information. But nonetheless, it was a lot of really useful information that I kind of gathered, and I thought I'd share with you guys. So, so first of all, I'm just gonna go through the whole thing. So what form of social media is your primary one for keeping up with fandoms? So it was about 25% for Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, pretty even across the board, which is interesting because there's a few things that weren't even about those. Like for instance, on Twitter, the reaction was more instantaneous on Twitter. So at first, Twitter was the primary source, and then over time, Instagram grew. And I think that's really a lot about like their models on how they share information. Like on Instagram, the nice thing about it is that you can post something, and then if somebody misses it, then like if they just keep checking Instagram, it'll eventually show up on their feed. And I feel like they're a little less discriminatory with it. Twitter, unless it's like a huge deal, if people aren't on Twitter right then, they might not get it. And that's something that really frustrates me about Twitter, despite the fact that I have the biggest reach there. Like, I have the most followers, like 12,000 something followers. Whereas, like, with Instagram, I think I've got, I don't know, like 4,000, maybe less. And then Facebook, which is somewhere in the middle, I have about, I don't know, like 7,000 followers or something. I probably should have read this before I said all this, but yeah, they all have their good points and drawbacks. I really wish that Facebook is frustrating because it's like if people don't like something, it probably won't show up in everybody else's feed. So like if you're like a main fan and I'm just updating something about a convention, for instance, and you live nowhere near where that convention is, it's probably not going to be shared if it's just a link and it's not like an image. And so then anybody that's from that area is never going to see the post. So I feel like Facebook's been really tricky. They have a lot of algorithms, and they do that partially because they want you to pay them, which is fair. They're a company. But I've definitely been less active on there now that I see how strong of an effect it can have. I'm kind of questioning that though. I have learned that I can only post one thing a day on Facebook, or I will pretty much like sabotage myself based on their algorithms. So that's kind of frustrating. Anyway, just some thoughts about social media. But yeah, I prefer the format of Facebook because it's so varied in what it can do. It's just that it feels like everything's working against you. And with Twitter, I'm not really big into kind of having conversations with other people. I'm not very social, so like it's tougher for me to feel like I can really gain a following in Twitter. Even though my biggest following is there, it still feels like yeah, I don't know, it feels a little isolated. It's harder to build a community, in my opinion, on Twitter. So let's see here. The next one. You have been following me since. Most of you guys said Rocket Girl, so that's really cool because I don't know, that one's my baby. I did a ton of art in it. I feel like it's the most me of everything, and I'm proud of everything that I've done, but that makes me happy that that picked up so many of you. Uh, Besides that, Madame Xanadu would be second, so that was kind of like my first real big break. Um, got some of you guys from Batwoman, definitely a good chunk from Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. Yeah. Next up is gender, and I mostly wanted to know a basic breakdown, not super picky about like the ins and outs of everybody's gender. More that I kind of wanted to know the general breakdown of male versus female. Also interested in who's non-binary, but more in a general sense of who's my audience. Um, and so I figured I might find that out. And it was interesting, actually. I found out that I had a lot more male fans than I thought. Like, I always thought I had, like, well, at least according to this, I always thought that I had about, like, 1/3 female, 2/3 male, and then a few somewhere in between. But it looks like of the people who responded, I've got like 160 men, 55 women, and like about 10 non-binary. So yeah, that's very interesting to me. That I still like. I thought that if anything, I would have a bigger female audience. But you know, it's good to know. I just I don't know how to explain why, but it's really helpful to understand who I'm drawing for in a way, and kind of where they're coming from. Not that you're going to be automatically coming from a different place if you're male or anything like that. Okay, so how enthusiastic an Amy Reeder fan would you characterize yourself? So this is like definitely me asking for compliments, but it seems like you guys ended up liking being mostly general fans, which makes sense. So like 64 of your percent of yourselves would consider yourselves like you've got some of my stuff. You're not a completist. You're a fan. There are about like, let's see, about a quarter or more of you, like a third of you, that are pretty enthusiastic. And then, or no, less than that. Let's see, about 25% that are pretty enthusiastic. And then some people that are new to my stuff, about like 10%. So welcome again. You don't have to be super knowledgeable. I'm actually very myself, like I'm not really into being like a super fan of anything. The only thing that I'm like a super fan of, I mean, there's probably more than this, but it's mostly like Bjork, just because. But in general, I feel like that's not the thing that matters most in life. So so that's totally fine. Let's see here. Then I asked you guys, what do you think I do best as an artist? So let's see. It seems like, and maybe I was phrasing this in a way to make you guys a little bit biased, but it seemed like most people were saying nail characters and acting. As you can see, there were a lot of personalized responses. I know that I limited it. It was really just more like, I don't know. I just wanted to see what is it that draws you guys in, because you know, artists like me, and when I say like me, I mean like artists who are semi-known for drawing difficult things. We get a little nervous sometimes that if we ever want to dial it back a little bit, that you as fans will be disappointed. And I'm always trying to fight that, actually. And I feel like all the things that I've been trying to grow as an artist in are related to becoming more expressive, a little bit less realistic, not a ton. I still like that kind of stuff. And also considering whether a faster way also looks better. Because it's not always like the most work you put into something and the more you wow people. To me, I don't think that should be the focus. I think it should be expression, touching people's hearts. So anyway, it seems like you guys tend to think that you enjoy how I nail characters and acting and telling stories. And the most added thing that you guys added to the list was the details. So that is like drawing difficult stuff in my opinion. But that's fine. That's fine if you like it. It's just good to know what you guys think. And so then I had you guys specify or like elaborate on what you thought, because I figured if I was going to make you pick only one, I should give you a chance to say more about what you think. And that was really cool. That was definitely my favorite part of the survey, believe it or not, was seeing what you guys liked about my art. And I don't know, it made me feel really good. It seems like a lot of people were saying, and this made me feel so excited, was that they've never, like in Rocket Girl, they've never seen a page move like that, that they have seen in Rocket Girl, which I thought was really exciting. Yeah, I just, and I just feel like I got a lot of good words about Rocket Girl in particular, and also just sort of how specific the characters look, which is also something that I really like. So it's nice because sometimes you hear things and they're the things that you were trying to do, and then it sounds like they liked it, so that's really cool. In addition, it's just it's, some of you are very philosophical about it, and I just find it interesting because it's about me. So yeah, thank you so much for taking the time to write that out. All right, so next up is what would you like to see more of from me, like as far as updates go and stuff online, or actually just in general. So most of all, you guys responded with 149 of you, and I think I said pick two. Most of all, it was art of any kind. So you were fine, whatever kind it is, as long as you see art, that's what matters. So that's kind of cool. That makes me feel like I'm not wasting my time as long as I'm drawing. So that's really helpful. 109 of you voted sequential art, which I think is fair. I think that that's sort of like the meat. That's what matters the most. And I don't do as much as I'd like to of sequential art because it's so much work. It's like the hardest of all of those things. But it is where my heart is. It is what I am like anchoring everything that I care about around, so that I can make sure that I do more of it. I'm working right now on developing like various projects, mostly that I'm going to write and draw. So sequential art is really important to me and is always going to be the forefront of what I care about. 65 of you said that you like stuff that's like of my process, that shows my process, and that's nice to see. And that's a repeated thing that I've been seeing in all of this, is that you guys really care about the process posts. So I'm going to do more of that for sure. Let's see here. 42 of you said you'd like to see me do more licensed characters or work on something from, you know, your favorite character or your favorite writer. And that's fair. And I do some of that. But I do tend to stray away from it a little bit. Which, you know, it's a thing, but you know, it's good to know because I felt like people wanted that sort of thing. So I'm actually surprised that not as many are as worried about that as I thought. 33 of you said that you'd like to see more how-to stuff. Now this is actually something that I want to do more of, and I don't know that the fandom is there for it, but it's something that I'm really passionate about, and that's maybe partially process as well. I really want to teach. It's one of my passions. I feel like I've got a lot of ideas on how to teach things that I don't think has really been done before. I say that not having gone to art school, so take it with a grain of salt. But I really want to start doing a lot more how-to and actually doing videos. This is partially just practice for that. 16 of you said that you'd like to see more of my opinions, and I didn't really specify that, so I don't know if it's like political opinions or business opinions, opinions about the industry. I totally appreciate people who care about politics and post about it. I know that I just personally can't handle dealing with the war games online, so I mostly stay away from it. But I would like to talk a lot about, or kind of open up more on what my feelings are about the industry, or about my process, or I would like to do basically more long form written posts of me just philosophizing about the process and getting past, you know, yourself a little bit. And then 6 of you said that you'd like me to engage with fans more, and that really surprises me that it's so little, but it's kind of a relief. I love you guys, but I feel like I can't be the only creator who feels this way. I think we're all like a little bit afraid of fans, and like we love you guys, but like there's always gonna be a few weirdos or creeps. And also, you know, even when people are being nice, it's just like you do set up a little bit of a wall just to keep yourself going and drawing comics. So definitely don't get too frustrated if sometimes I'm a little hard to reach and stuff like that. It is on purpose, but it's just sort of like what I have to do because, you know, being a comic book artist, like your motivation is everything, and being able to focus is everything, because you don't really have a boss like you do, but I don't, and I prefer not having a boss, and that means that I have to be self-motivating, and I get it. In order for me to respond to people, sometimes I have to like put my all into it, because that's just kind of my personality. So sometimes I just don't do it at all, just so that I can produce as much as I can. Let's see here. So what is next? What would you buy if I made it? So like I said, I know that not everybody's got money, and honestly, following me and liking stuff is incredibly helpful, even from like a business standpoint. Not that that's what it's all about, but it's incredibly helpful. So I think I should just lay that out there. But let's see, 163 of you said that you'd like a new creator-owned title. And that's really interesting. So, and then 114 said that you'd like more from the same titles that I've already produced. So like Rocket Girl, Moon Girl, and Devil Dinosaurs, stuff like that. That was really surprising to me that there's more of you who would like a new creator-owned series than something that I've already worked on. And then as far as licensed characters go, 83 of you said that you'd like me to do something with your favorite licensed character or a writer. And I mean, that's your favorite, so that's like a perfect situation. But there was only 83 by comparison. So that's really exciting to me, because that's actually like what I really want to do, is a new creator-owned thing. I'm really into the miniseries. I love good endings. So that is something that I would like to do more of, is good endings, which means starting a new story. Let's see, 80 of you said that you were interested in a coffee table illustration book. I don't know if like the sound of that sounded like it might be a little more expensive, but it probably would if I were to do something like that. But that was kind of interesting how many of you said that you would want something like that. 75 said you'd like a sketchbook. And 56 of you said an art instruction book. I actually am kind of trying to plan an art instruction book, so I was a little disappointed that not more of you were excited about that, I have to say. But I might still do it, because, you know, I'm an artist, so what am I going to do? And maybe you'll want it anyway, because it's going to be amazing. It's going to be, like, super duper in-depth and technical and stuff like that. Let's see here. What are your favorite updates from me? So, this was interesting. Most people were just saying, like, general art updates are what you like from me. Just art. Art is good. People really like hearing updates on certain projects that I'm working on. or announcements that there's a new project. That's a favorite update. That makes sense. A lot of you are really into seeing process posts or video posts or tutorials. I love doing that stuff. Like that's like if I have to, like obviously part of the job now is to keep up with social media, which is not really what I'm not like terribly good at it, to be honest. But that is one thing that I feel like I can add content to that I actually care about. So I try to mostly emphasize that. So I'm really glad that you guys like that sort of thing. People were saying that they like seeing updates where I open up commissions, which I've been kind of doing a lot lately. And some of you, I think it was just because you want to see the commissions that I do for other people because it's got different characters, so that's fun. Some people said they like sketches, so that's also process. Yeah, so it's all really good stuff. What is up next? Do you ever buy commissions or original art? So this is really even. Let's see here. Some people said often. That's 15%. That's actually a lot, I think. 25% said they have a small collection. That's pretty decent. It sounds like you guys really like original art. 25% say rarely, but if I really like the artist, I'll get something. That's awesome. 30% said I wish. I'm a lot of times in that same category, so I understand. And small amount said I'm not really into stuff like that, which I think is totally fair because sometimes you just want to read the books, Next up was Patreon. I asked you guys about Patreon. Now this is really helpful because I was thinking about doing one, but here's my problem with Patreon is it takes all your best fans who help promote you on all the different social medias, and it basically gathers them all in to Patreon where you give them exclusive content that they can be excited about just on Patreon and nobody else sees it. And if you ever do release that stuff on Facebook or Instagram, then your core fan base suddenly is less enthusiastic because they've already seen it, so they're not going to like it as much, and that way it's not going to see. It's like the more likes you have on something, the more eyes will see it. So I feel like that's the part that I don't really like about it. I would mostly be interested in it if it were more of like a stretch goal kind of thing where it was like, well, if I have this many people, I will generate this kind of content for you. But anyway, it looks like half of you guys are not into Patreon. So that was actually like really helpful to know. I feel like that kind of made my decision for me that I'm not going to do it. 35% that said that they support a select few, and 12% are enthusiastic about it. So, I mean, that's good, but I don't know. And then you guys gave some opinions on Patreon, and a lot of you guys were saying like that a lot of people sign up for more than they are actually capable of doing, or that they spend so much time on their Patreon that they don't produce comics. And that's actually a huge concern of mine. I really want to stay focused on creating comics, and anything that I do, I have to make sure it's not going to compete with that. So that you guys felt that way was important to me, and so I think I'm gonna just forego the Patreon thing, to be honest, even though like you can get like regular money a month and I could do like something small on it, but that's just not my personality. Like I feel like I'm just gonna do something insane on it instead and not have any time for anything else. It's just kind of the person I am. I'm very all or nothing. Let's see here, Kickstarter. So how about Kickstarter? Now, Kickstarter, actually, I was thinking that it was possible that people were a little less enthusiastic about it these days, and that might be true, but it seems like there's still like a very hardcore fan base associated with Kickstarter. 55% of you said, I'm particular, but I might back it depending on what it is. I think that's great because, like I think like, it depends on the project, so you got to do the right project, but you're still into it. Some people say that they always miss the window. Why is that? That is so frustrating for us creators. I don't know how we can get it to you any better than we already do. Because we're so afraid of like over promoting it and then getting people annoyed with us and stuff. But I miss the window a lot myself, so I can't blame you. Let's see here. 25% of you said that you've been waiting for me to do another Kickstarter. Do it. So that's a pretty big number. And then 12.1% said I'm not into Kickstarter, which is totally fine. I know some people have been burned, and that's understandable. And then I asked for a Kickstarter advice, and I thought it was super duper helpful. A lot of you guys say that it really just depends on the artist. I feel like that makes me feel better in a way. Like, not a lot of people were saying like, oh, if you're too established, I'm like, why are you on Kickstarter? I was worried that that would be what people were saying, is like you shouldn't be asking for money. But I see it more as a business thing, than like a patron kind of thing. And another thing that really helps people decide is if they know and trust the person. Luckily, I've had like 3 Kickstarters so far that were successful, so, and that also delivered. So that is good. Some of you guys wanted lots of tiers, and some people wanted simple tiers. So I guess that one's up to me, and I'm probably going to do it simple if I do one. Some people really want exclusive stuff, but not too many, so that's good. Some of you want low-cost things, a lot of updates. Some people prefer if the art's all the way done, which I don't know if that's... I don't think I would do a Kickstarter if the art was already done. It would more be to create something, to have enough money to create it. So yeah, thanks a lot for the information on that. I'm definitely going to be thinking a lot about that one. So what is next? We're almost done. So how many comics do you buy? So I took a look, and it looks like a lot of you guys buy over 25 comics per month, and that, like, each graphic novel is about like 5 or 6 issues, so that's quite a lot. Most of you buy about 10 to 14 comics a week, or a month, sorry. So that's pretty cool. I don't buy a lot, actually, and I did when Image was kind of getting its second boom. I got really into buying comics, and I found that like I didn't read them all, and it wasn't all Image either. It was like a lot of different things. I got really excited, and part of it was I kind of wanted to find out if it was just me. But it sounds like some of you guys read a ton. Like, some people are reading like 100 comics a month. One person was saying like 250. It's really crazy. As far as comics read, it was a little hard the way that I had phrased it to figure out who actually read the comics that they bought. But a lot of people said that they read all of what they bought. And so that kind of data helped me understand rather than like a number. So 117 out of 221 responses said that they read all of it, which is, I think, not too bad, because I tend to have a lot of unread comics, and then I feel guilty, and I don't know what to do with them all, so it's a problem. And I need to just read more is the answer. I know that, especially since I'm the one making comics, but most of you said that you read fewer comics now. But some say more. So 106 of you, so out of 216, 106 of you said that you read fewer comics, 76 said that you read more, and 14 said that you read about the same. So, let's see here. And then you guys had opinions on things. It seems like the opinions were all pretty good stuff. One last thing, just so you guys know, is some of you are like saying, oh, I can't believe it, you haven't gotten these gigs yet in comics and stuff. Just keep in mind that, like, the reason that I'm not working on huge titles all the time uh, is actually by choice. I have an open invitation at pretty much every publisher. Yeah. Um, and they want to work with me. It's really just me saying no to a lot of things. Um, I say no to a lot of things because I really, really want to focus what it is that I care about, and just make comics that will blow your mind. And my plan right now is mostly to be a one-woman show, and to make up the projects that I want to do. You know, there's a few things that I'll do on the side, like I'm happy to do covers, because it's less of my heart and soul. Even though I do put a lot of my heart in it, it's not like killing me to do something that isn't all mine. But yeah, that's basically what's going on. So I really appreciate the appreciation, and it would be probably the smarter thing to do to work more on licensed characters or work with big names. I am just very choosy because I'm a very delicate soul, and that's something that I learned about myself as a collaborator. Um, Sometimes I have a hard time collaborating with people. Sometimes I just like to kind of be alone and in my own world and make things. And I feel like largely the reason why I've been pursuing that sort of thing lately is because of fans. Because you guys have really showed me repeatedly that if I really care about something and I do it, you're gonna support it. So for that, I really, really thank you guys. It seems like, based on the things that I read, that we're very much like in understanding of each other, and why the things that I do matter to you and why it matters to me. So that is really cool. And yeah, thanks for the support. Sometimes I don't remember that I have you guys behind me. So this is a great reminder. And just keep reading comics and being enthusiastic about my stuff and also a lot of other people out there. And take care. Thanks.